Welcome to Infidelity Truths. Before we dive into today's gripping story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more thrilling stories just for you. Let's begin.
I used to think regret was about the big moments, the fights, the betrayals, the day you signed divorce papers. But my deepest regret isn't any of those things. It's the quiet erosion of who I was, piece by piece, while I tried to hold on to someone who was never mine to keep. His name was Marcus, and for a long time, I thought he was my future. Now, I see him as the man who almost stole my soul. I was 27 when we met, a graphic designer with big dreams and a sketchbook full of ideas. I just landed my first real client, a small startup that loved my bold, colorful style. Marcus was a photographer, the kind of guy who could make a rainy day feel cinematic. He'd talk about light and shadow like they were old friends, and when he looked at me, it felt like he saw something no one else did. I fell hard. 6 months later, we were living together in a tiny loft apartment, planning a life that felt like a work of art. The first year was magic. We'd stay up late, him editing photos, me sketching logos, sharing cheap wine and big dreams. He'd call me his muse, frame my sketches on our walls, tell me I was going to change the world. I believed him. When he proposed on a whim during a road trip to the coast, I said yes, under a sky full of stars. It felt like we were unstoppable. But cracks form slowly, don't they? It started with small things. He'd tease me about my chaotic designs, suggesting I tone them down to appeal to a wider market. I laughed it off, but I started tweaking my work: less color, fewer risks. Then he'd complain about my late nights at the studio. "You're always working," he'd say, like his own long hours didn't count. I cut back on projects to be home more, to keep the peace. My world started to orbit around his needs, his moods, his vision. The first lie I caught him in was about a work trip. He said he was shooting a wedding out of town, but I found an email from a woman named Lena, thanking him for a weekend at a cabin. When I asked, he rolled his eyes. "It's just a client, Sarah. Don't make it weird." I felt like I'd been punched, but I swallowed it. I didn't want to be the crazy girlfriend. Over time, the lies piled up: late nights, vague texts, a phone he started guarding like a vault. I stopped asking because every question made me feel smaller. By our second anniversary, I barely recognized myself. I'd stopped sketching for fun. My portfolio was full of safe, boring designs I hated. Friends stopped calling because I'd canceled too many plans. Marcus had this way of making me feel like I was the problem, like my instincts were wrong, my feelings too much. I'd look in the mirror and see someone duller, quieter, a shadow of the woman who used to paint her dreams in neon. The truth came crashing down when Lena showed up at our door. She wasn't a client. She was his girlfriend of 8 months, someone he'd met at a gallery opening. She thought I was his roommate, that we'd broken up ages ago. She showed me texts, photos, even a playlist he'd made her songs we used to call ours. I didn't cry. I just felt numb, like I'd been hollowed out. When I confronted Marcus, he didn't even flinch. "You've been distant, Sarah. What did you expect?" He said, like it was my fault he'd built a whole other life. I moved out the next day, crashing on a friend's couch with nothing but a duffel bag and my old sketchbook. The divorce was quick. He didn't fight for anything, not even me. But the real battle was inside. I'd spent years molding myself to fit his frame, and now I didn't know who I was anymore. I'd lost clients, passion, confidence. I'd lost the woman who used to believe she could do anything. The first few months alone were brutal. I'd wake up panicking, wondering if I'd made a mistake, if I'd ever feel whole again. But slowly, I started to rebuild. I went to therapy, where I learned to name what had happened: gaslighting, emotional manipulation. I reconnected with friends who reminded me of the woman I used to be. I started sketching again, bold and unapologetic, filling pages with color. One day, I pitched a project to a new client, and they loved it. Not the safe version, but the real me, messy and vibrant. It's been 2 years now. I run my own design studio, small but growing. I wear bright lipstick again, laugh too loud, take risks. Marcus? I heard he's still chasing muses, still leaving a trail of broken promises. Part of me wishes I could go back and warn that 7-year-old dreamer not to give her heart so freely. But the truth is, I don't regret loving him. I regret letting him convince me I was less than I am. I regret the years I spent trying to be what he wanted, instead of who I was. If you're reading this and you're shrinking yourself for someone else, let this be your wake-up call. The person you're trying to save the relationship for might not be worth saving, but you're worth everything. Start reclaiming yourself now, because the life you're meant to live is waiting.
Thank you, my amazing subscribers. Wow, what a journey. If you've made it to the end of this story, I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Your support means everything to me. Every time you watch, like, and comment, you're helping keep this channel alive and growing. And trust me, the best is yet to come. I see all your comments. I feel your love, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Your thoughts and feedback inspire me to create even more powerful stories. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. More shocking twists, emotional journeys, and real-life lessons are on the way, and I don't want you to miss a single one. Together, we're building an incredible community, and I'm so grateful to have you on this journey with me. Stay strong, stay inspired, and remember, sometimes life's greatest lessons come from the most unexpected moments. See you in the next story.